Hello all, it's James Johnson, aka Sulphur Blade, and I'm here with another video. Some of you may or may not be aware that the US isn't the only fucked up place in the world. No, truly, we're not the only country that's currently in the middle of a cultural war, a civil war, and a complete regression of humanity as a whole. In fact, it's happening all throughout Western society, to include France. France is on the verge of civil war, just like the United States is. Why? Why are we here? Why are we at this place in time? I'm going to tell you it's because not enough people paid attention in history class. That's the easiest way to summarize it, is there's not enough people paying attention to history. And there's far too many people concerned with progress for progress's sake. So the progressivism that is pushing the left side of governments all throughout the Western world to far left extremes is wreaking havoc with Western society as a whole. They believe in very unusual thought patterns. And I truly believe it's because humanity is actually regressing. Now, this is a comical website, mind you, but here's just some examples of, this is 101 examples of why humanity is regressing. And while it certainly is hilarious, and every one of these you read just makes you want to, you know, giggle and laugh and just explode with laughter. How can you not explode with laughter reading these things? And how can you not feel that this is a bit over the top? Is humanity really regressing? Well, let's think about things for a second, shall we? We're currently having a narrative pushed on us by a loud vocal minority that our wonderful country is systematically racist. And our government is encouraging the practice of teaching critical race theory. This entire narrative is racist. It's the actual definition of racism. But they're supposedly doing this to save us all from racism. But true racism is not seeing race. The more you point out that that black guy was shot instead of that guy was shot, you're a racist. The more you scream at the top of your lungs that Black Lives Matter instead of all lives matter, you're a racist. In order to not be a racist, there is one simple dichotomy that's very simple to understand. You need to not see color. And people who do not see color are appalled with all of the bullshit happening in our country right now. Because what's happening in our country right now is not a process of not seeing color. What's going on in our country right now is a process of taking a magnifying glass to the differences in society and then sticking that under a high-powered scientific microscope. It's just stupidity at its highest level. Which kind of correlates with all of these signs now, doesn't it? Stupidity at its highest level. Is humanity regressing? I think it's fairly obvious. Why is it happening? I think too many people slept through history. You know, we've been here. We've done these things before. We're walking down the same steps that we've walked on in the past. Before World War II, the same type of rhetoric was espoused all over Europe that's being espoused today. It's just the opposite political spectrum pushing it, if you will. And that's not to say that there wasn't left-wing extremism in the 30s and 40s. There most certainly was. The Soviet Union was a clear, glaring example of that. However, they were at the time a necessary evil, a group we had to work with to win World War II. And because of just how things fell in line, the Soviet Union was allowed to at least flourish and prosper as a result of World War II, really. And then that led to the Cold War. And the Soviet state eventually collapsing. Because communism doesn't work, folks. We've been here. We've seen it. We've done that. Some of us have the t-shirts. But so many of you need signs like these for you to actually understand what's going on. I mean, the fact that these signs need to exist in society, for some of you, completely explains how it is that so many of you actually believe the propaganda you're fed on mainstream media daily. And you are fed propaganda on mainstream media. The fifth estate of this country, news, used to give news that was non-biased, was factual, didn't lean in any political direction, and explained why some particular bill could be beneficial for the right and the beneficial to the left, and what were the pros and cons from either way of looking at it. That's what news used to do. And when news used to do that, you know what it made? It made politics less controversial. News, in and of itself, was a program where actual people would watch and would find out other viewpoints about other opinions, and would discover that this thing that they're completely opposed to could have benefits. And that's why the other side of the aisle looks at it that way. And when two sides of the aisle can look at what the benefits are from their points of view, this strange thing used to happen. It was called compromise. Yeah, it's a bizarre concept, I know. Compromise. That no longer happens in the world because two sides cannot share the pros and cons of each other's political reasonings. You're either a left-wing idiot or you're a right-wing idiot. And it's not even left-wing idiot and right-wing idiot anymore. It's far left idiot and it's far right idiot. And that brings up the whole concept of globalization. A lot of individuals on the left, they will try to tell you that evil nationalism is on the rise, and our angel-like globalism is suffering because the evil nationalists are making it go away. Of course, that type of thought process exists in the world today when everything is black and white. There's no shades of gray. It's either right or wrong. Everything you interact with in today's society is right or wrong, left or right, good or bad. But globalization and nationalism are not opposite sides of a spectrum. They're two completely different fucking things. You can be a patriot. You can have a strong sense of national self and still be willing to work with, communicate, learn from other cultures and other nations. You can be a nationalist type person and still see benefits to trading with another country. You can be a nationalistic person who's proud of your country, stands for the flag, cries during the national anthem, enlists in the military with the belief that he's willing to lay down his life for his country, and still be willing to help out poor people in other countries, and still be willing to help out other countries with the development of their nations. The two things are not mutually exclusive to each other. But of course, in our current society, they obviously are polar opposites. You can't be a nationalist and be a globalist at the same time. That doesn't work. It's just more examples that humanity on a whole is regressing. People are not paying attention in school, evidently. They're not learning in school. They're sleeping through their history classes. History is a very important topic in school. There's a reason it's taught. And it's so that society doesn't keep making the same mistakes every 40 years, rotationally over and over again. But I digress. Progressives, they don't care about history. They want to tear down all our statues. They want progress for the sake of progress. Be damned if the progress is worth a shit or not. Let's make a new communist society in the United States. It'll be grand. Okay, where did you come from? What form of idiot pill did you induce? Did you even go to school? And if you did go to school, how did you get such horrible ideas? What are they teaching you? It's really sad that signs like these exist in the world. It's really sad that signs like these need to exist in the world. So yeah, this is an odd video, I suppose. I think it kind of cuts to the heart of everything. We're getting dumber as a society because instead of listening to the smart people, we're vilifying the smart people. We have, and that's not to say that the left doesn't have smart people. It does. Just like the right has smart people. Both sides have smart people. But which side's smart people tell you the other side's smart people are evil? When is the last time a Bill Maher, or I don't know, who's another version of a smart leftist individual besides Bill Maher that has common sense? It's hard to think of him. Anyway, the point is, how often do you see scholars on the left point out scholars on the right and acknowledge them? How often do you see scholars on the left tell their side of the aisle, their side of the puzzle, if you will, just how wrong they are about a scholar on the right? It doesn't happen. And then the scholars on the right, the quote-unquote scholars on the right, they used to be scholars on the left as of 5 years ago. Not even 5 years ago. Jordan Peterson, who's now considered far-right extremist Jordan Peterson, voted primarily for the left-leaning party in Canada his entire lifetime. But he's somehow a far-right extremist. You know, that's just what it is. So the left is so hell-bent to change the world, to get progress, to create the Great Reset or the Green New Deal, or to save the planet from the utter destruction it'll have in 14 years if we don't cool off the planet, blah 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 blah. Insert whatever silly narrative here that's being used to control the dumb masses. Is global warming an issue? Most certainly. Global warming is an issue. At some point, global warming, unless humanity gets much smarter, global warming will eventually wipe humanity from the planet. Possibly, most life as we know it on the planet will be wiped off the planet. That is just a stark, inevitable thing that will happen because the Earth has cycles of weather. It heats up, and it cools down. And we could be wiped out by an ice age, or we could be wiped out by temperatures that humans were not designed to live in. However, in the hundreds and thousands of years for that to take place, it's a good chance humans might figure out how to come up with technologies that will allow them to survive in even harsher climates than we're able to live in today. Of course, in order for that to happen, we will need to, actually still believe in science, not made up science, not we need to return to the developed world of Chad. Yes, people believe that we need to reduce the development of the developed world to a state of Chad, which would be, the equivalent of going back to wearing loincloths and dancing around a fire hoping it might rain. Sorry, if anyone's out there listening from Chad, I'm being a little over dramatic there. I'm sure you're not that bad. But yeah, what else do you say other than caution? Lake ahead. If it's in stock, we have it. Huh. Yeah, you don't say. Road end. Huh. Hot water. Caution. Hot liquid. Attention. The 24-hour night drop box is still open. Who would have thunk it? Anyway, this is probably as good a place to wrap up this episode. What was the point of it? The point of it, I guess, was just some sort of venting procedure where I point out that humanity on a whole just seems like it's getting stupider, like it's regressing, and that humanity as a whole is not opening up its ears and listening to scholars and doing actual critical analysis of issues and looking at them from unbiased perspectives. No, humanity as a whole no longer even bothers to attempt to look at any issue from that of a perspective that could be on the opposite side of what they think. There is only one right answer in today's day and age. And it's quite apparent that far too many individuals across the world slept through history class. Anyway, I'm James Johnson, aka Sulfurblade. This is my content. Hopefully you're enjoying it. If so, please leave a like and subscribe. And until the next time, all, peace.